Like and subscribe right now, or this spider is gonna crawl on your face while you're sleeping.
Secrets Disney does not want you to know. Disney just can't catch a break in the news these days. Constantly dealing with different PR disasters of their own making, like the controversy surrounding their live-action remake of Mulan, high-profile actors speaking out against them for alleged racial bias, and even opening up their theme parks as a pandemic rips through the world. With their still relatively new streaming service finding its legs in the market, Disney appears to be trying to be extra careful to avoid controversy by offering censored and cut-down versions of their films and shows. But hey, thanks to the internet, nothing remains hidden from our eyes, and we can always find the things Disney wants to keep hidden. Plus, we shall also talk about not just the censorship they had to go through just to adjust their content, but also the hidden agendas and behind-the-scenes conspiracies that have shrouded Disney for a long time. So, drum roll please. Here are the secrets Disney does not want you to know. Enjoy. Number 10. Splash is hearing no buts about it. Starting off with probably the most well-known instance of censorship on the streaming platform so far is the 1984 film Splash, starring Tom Hanks and his lighthearted adventures with a mermaid. In the original version of the film, there's a very brief scene where the actress Daryl Hannah is seen running naked into the ocean, her butt visible to the camera. But in 1984 times, this earned the film a PG rating, likely due to the fact that there was no PG-13 rating that could even be applied to it yet. In 2020 times, Disney wasn't going to let a little cheek slide. Instead of leaving the movie as it was, Disney opted to use special effects to add about an extra foot of her hair down to the length of her back to cover her posterior. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it's so poorly done, it looks like the actress is just a solid mass of dreadlock hair covering her bottom, like she pooped into it and never attempted to clean it. Disney should pay someone extra next time to get the job done properly. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that will take just 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell and you get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works. Number 9. The Simpsons episode removed. Most people can agree, anything after season 10 of The Simpsons never really happened. Season 30? Don't be silly. While we can all look back on those first 10 seasons of The Simpsons with nostalgic enjoyment, there's one episode that you won't find on Disney+, or just about any streaming platform for that matter. The episode in question is the season 3 premiere, Stark Raving Dad, with a guest starring role from the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. Despite the controversies in Michael's life when he was alive, the episode didn't start getting any real heat until after an HBO documentary called Leaving Neverland, about 2 men who claimed Michael Jackson sexually abused them as children, released and set the internet ablaze with discussion. With the new allegations brought to life, the showrunners decided it would be best to remove the episode from availability online, stating they were against book burning, but felt because it was their product, they were allowed to remove things they didn't like. Number 8. Toy Story 2 joke hits a little too close to home. It's truly amazing how much can change in just a decade or two. Originally released in 1999, Toy Story 2 featured a blooper reel of sorts at the end of the film of joke scenes made by the animators. One such scene was the Stinky Pete toy taking 2 Barbies aside and telling them he could get them apart in Toy Story 3, before noticing he was on camera and ushering the girls away in a panic. An obvious allusion to the casting couch of Hollywood where many young stars were taken advantage of by executives. While it's likely the joke was removed because it isn't exactly acceptable in today's society to have sex exploitation jokes in a kids movie, there's actually a double whammy in play. John Lasseter, the man behind Toy Story 2 and a vast majority of Disney's animated films in the 2000s, ended up leaving the company after real-life allegations of sexual harassment were levied against him. Wouldn't want something like that to be looming over your streaming service in any shape or form. Number 7. Lilo and Stitch teaching kids bad lessons. Surprisingly, the bad lessons being taught to kids by Lilo and Stitch has absolutely nothing to do with bringing a wild, rabid animal into your home and leaving it alone with your kids. The bad lesson in question is actually quite subtle if you're not paying attention. In a scene where Lilo is being chased by her sister Nani after a bad meeting with Child Protective Services, Lilo closes herself off in a washer to hide from her sister. Of all the places she could have hidden, the animators chose one that was actually a real danger to children watching who might get the same idea. To rectify this, the film was updated to have the washer become a cupboard, and the door she hid behind became a pizza box. It's a weird visual choice, but clearly done to prevent any issues of claims that kids learn the idea from viewing the content. Number 6. Character protection. Disney has always been incredibly protective of its brand because its products are so popular and easily counterfeited. In several instances, the company has gone to unreasonable and even disgusting lengths to preserve copyright. In 1989, 3 daycare centers in Florida had murals of beloved Disney characters on their walls, and the company threatened legal retribution if the paintings were not removed. Seeing the potential for great publicity, Hanna-Barbera Productions, creators of Scooby-Doo and Yogi Bear, quickly jumped at the opportunity to offer their characters for free use. In 2006, upon learning that the parents of a stillborn baby in England wished to have their character Winnie the Pooh engraved on her child's headstone, Disney threatened to sue the stonemason involved. Not surprisingly, this type of pointless corporate greed did not sit well with the public. Questioned, a Disney spokesman backpedaled, claiming, quote, "Our deepest sympathies go out to the family at this time. We have been in contact with them and are in the process of fulfilling their original request," end quote. Number 5. Homeless employees. The streets of Main Street, USA might smell of freshly baked chocolate chip cookies, but not everything at Disney World is all sunshine and rainbows. Those earning Disney's starting minimum wage of just $8.03 an hour, which translates to about $16,702 a year before taxes, find even paying for an apartment nearly impossible, leaving some employees homeless. The median rent in Osceola County is about $800 per month. This may seem low compared to some urban centers in America, but when you factor in the cost of securing the apartment, laying down a security deposit, and giving a few months' rent in advance, the sum becomes hopelessly out of reach for low-level workers. Many Disney employees and other low-income workers get by sharing cheap motel rooms on a week-by-week basis. Such rooms can be had for as little as $39 a night. This is affordable if several adults share the room, though that typically violates hotel occupancy rules. Number 4. Mickey Mouse, the drug dealer. Historically, Mickey Mouse could be a bit of a jerk at times, and in one 1951 comic, he becomes something of a drug dealer. In Mickey Mouse and the Medicine Man, a mini-comic distributed in conjunction with General Mills Wheaties, Mickey and Goofy discover a new medicine called Peppo. The thinly veiled amphetamine is so powerful it has them crashing into the ceiling and running in circles. Impressed, Mickey decides the drug is a perfect get-rich-quick scheme, and he approaches Peppo's manager about acquiring a distribution territory. They are given the entirety of Africa, which turns into just the kind of extravaganza you might expect, complete with crocodiles, a monkey, and spear-clutching natives. The village they visit is held under the sway of the local doctor, who spikes everyone's food with some kind of sedative so that he can steal the area's diamonds for himself. Of course, Mickey and Goofy save the day, dosing the slumbering king with Peppo and disposing the villainous Medicine Man. Number 3. Importance of social status. Disney heroes and villains are almost always high in social hierarchy when compared to others. The plot structure of Cinderella revolves around a woman who manages to escape her terrible living conditions simply by marrying a wealthy man. Her success is down to her attractiveness in comparison to her hideous stepsisters. The sense of entitlement amongst central characters is consistent in almost every Disney film. So-called Prince Charming characters are so valued for their wealth and power that they can get away with basically anything. Imagine a reversal of the roles. Replace Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty with Philoctetes, a minor socially inferior character from Hercules. I wager most women would wake up to a kiss from Philoctetes screaming, rather than wanting to marry him. Even if you look at the overall plots for almost any Disney movie, the lower class is only shown as a small portion of society. The middle or working class is shown as a loving community that lives to serve the masters, and the elites are always shown as the most generous and helpful people around. Disney always tries to make it look like it is happily ever after, and that is where the wrong sense of class inequality takes place. Number 2. Satanic imagery. Although something of a controversial entry, visible evidence exists that suggests Disney uses subtle themes of Satanism in their films. For example, the beast of Beauty and the Beast is portrayed as a horned creature with fangs, resembling a traditional image of Lucifer. Philoctetes in Hercules is also displayed in this form, with horns and cloven feet. The most bizarre, albeit most controversial case, is perhaps in Disney's adaptation of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It has been argued that 8-year-old Lucy's meeting with Mr. Tumnus involves a subtle theme of pedophilia. The stranger, incidentally portrayed with goat legs and horns, persuades Lucy to visit his home, before putting her to sleep by playing lullabies on his flute. The next thing we know, Lucy wakes up to find Mr. Tumnus crying and saying that he has done something very bad. In context of the story, Tumnus betrayed Lucy to the White Witch. Despite the evidence of a darker theme, many critics of the theory have suggested the sequence simply represents the consequences of children trusting strangers. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Number 1. Standards of beauty. In almost every Disney movie, the primary antagonist is portrayed as physically unattractive, encouraging children to associate this character trait with evil. Female characters are particularly subjected to this treatment, all having at least one of the big 3 of Disney villain characteristics: being fat, Ursula in The Little Mermaid; old, the old woman in Snow White; or hideously ugly, the ugly stepsisters in Cinderella. The bottom line is that Disney openly preaches that attractiveness is synonymous with both morality and happiness. Disney villains are often portrayed as insecure about their appearance, which then causes them to take it out on their younger, slimmer, better-looking characters. For example, the villain of Snow White is obsessed with being the fairest of them all, and the ugly stepsisters bully and abuse the innocent and beautiful Cinderella. The film Beauty and the Beast works on the pretense of looks don't matter. However, a closer look at the plot structure reveals this is a false front. In the climax of the film, the Beast transforms back into a handsome human, thus allowing him to live happily ever after with the equally attractive Belle. This totally contradicts the film's supposed message of looks don't matter, because if it were true, why is the transformation needed? The Hunchback of Notre Dame also does this with the main character being physically deformed. However, the message is again twisted when a new handsome character in the form of Captain Phoebus is introduced to marry Esmeralda instead of the protagonist, who of course is not worthy of her because of his ugliness.